Still locked in. It's a feel-good breakfast show, and of course, we are making so much magic, producing so much magic, and right now, we're going to get you all to live and have some magic, of course. Now, recycling has seen a surge of exciting new technologies that are helping improve the environment, and Grant is joining us to talk through some of these exciting developments. My man, we've got some cool stuff when it comes to recycling. Of course, we're talking about the different ways, the different technologies relating to it, and starting off with just, I guess, sorting, like from the beginning when it comes to breaking down the cardboard, the plastic, and everything else. What tech is involved in sorting?
But first, before we kick this off, actually, one of the things that I'd like to mention and break down is that we are given stuff to recycle from companies and brands that actually we shouldn't be responsible for recycling that stuff. Those aren't solutions that we need to do. The solutions come when you leave school and you get into the work environment and you work for these companies to provide better products that we can use, so that creates a greener future. But for now, we have a lot of plastic lying around. We've got to fix it.
Yes, we do, unfortunately. So what do you have for us? Where do we go with this?
So one of the first ways to do that is AI sorting. AI is improving all the time, and usually sorting is done by hand. So if you put different kinds of plastics, some plastics can't be recycled. You might think they're recycled, but they can't, and it goes through a conveyor belt at a recycling depot. And AI sorting allows robots to then manually sort through different materials that people would usually have to do, but potentially even better than when people did, and faster, which means that the end product, when you recycle the plastic, is even better. And then when we use, like landfill material, we can even potentially sort through landfill material to pull out recycled plastics that can be used.
Definitely something I've seen a lot, Grant, especially when it comes to sorting. I remember being back at school back in the day, and we literally used to have all the kids sorting out, like I said, the cardboard, the plastic, and you get these different types of plastic now, which you said, some are recyclable and some actually are not. How do we as the consumer know that? And we put with all these issues of how do we figure this out? So I think AI definitely will help us here. So that is something brilliant, something I'm really looking forward to. So sorting's kind of box has been ticked. Something called munching. You heard about that at all? You know much about it?
Oh, yes. So plastic, contrary to a lot of popular belief, and we're genetically engineering some forms of bacteria to eat plastic, because plastic, when things like decompose and like are biodegradable, it's bacteria that's using that material as food and like basically excreting it into the environment, and being voila, that product disappears. Essentially, that's why paper slowly disappears when you leave it outside. It decomposes. Bacteria is using it as food. So we've started to create some bacterias and genetically modify some bacterias to actually eat some of the plastics that we have created, which is a really lateral solution, because a lot of the original plastics weren't biodegradable about anything natural in the environment, or take a long time. So we can speed up that process by genetically engineering and modifying different bacteria to do that. I got you.
So I've heard, obviously, and I've seen, obviously, with the environment, especially when it goes to the ocean, a lot of these polymers and plastics don't break down enough, and there's these little tiny molecules that are like hanging and just being submersed within what's supposed to be a playground of love, food, and magic for the animals.
And we can't see it with our eyes, but those microplastics are there.
Okay. So what does that mean in the next 5 years? I should be watching out for like big plastic-eating monsters, maybe?
Look, I'm all down for solutions. Don't be scared by phrases like genetically modified. I really am stressed, because a lot of people go like, oh no, GM is scary. It's not. Like, the carrots that we eat are GM as well. Like,
I think nothing's scarier than the current world we're living in as well, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, we've got to solve these problems. We created them, we've got to fix them.
So Grant, something a bit more, I'd say, many people might not be aware of, something called depolymerization.
Yeah, depolymerization.
Yeah, what is that about?
So, like, a lot of people don't know that plastic is actually made from petroleum. It comes from petrol. And because of that, like, if we can reverse the process a little bit, we could potentially get more product out of it. Petrol is an energy source, right? So when you make plastic, you usually turn petrol into a product called plaques. And with the plaques and with plastic pebbles, you can then melt those into all the plastic products that we have today that you can see. So if we can, with a process called depolymerization, you can break down that plastic into those plaques, pebbles, and then create new products. And the exciting thing is that we could probably do some better quality products the second time round in some instances, which is really cool.
So you're almost not only recycling, but you're actually upgrading at the same time.
Potentially, yeah.
Sounds like it. And now, I know we'd always mulch when it comes to mixing things and creating these fusions, but we're talking micro-emulsion when it comes to recycling. What on earth is that?
Well, microemulsion is interesting because it solves a problem. It's a chemical that we put down, and we can, you can, kind of like an acid. It's not really an acid, but it's a chemical that will eat away different materials. A lot of the materials we have, there are boxes. Like if you get a milk carton, it's got cardboard on the outside, and it's got tin foil on the inside.
Yes.
Like, it's hard to recycle some of those products.
Yeah, you've got to tear them apart and break them apart for the different pieces. Yeah.
And it's not quality. So this, by emulsifying some of those products, you can separate those chemicals apart, or those components apart from the products by throwing them into what I imagine to be a vat. I'm actually not 100% sure how that works. And I'm sure there are recycling experts out there who know better than this, but it will help us to recycle complex materials that are made, because a material is not necessarily a singular material.
Yes.
It's made of many different things put together.
Oh man, Grant, you are schooling me and educating me, and I'm loving this so much, and I think everybody out there needs to pay attention. We're definitely going to be continuing this conversation with Grant. Of course, we're heading over to Facebook Live after the show, so join us there as we get more involved in all the tech and all the incredible options that we have when it comes to recycling. Grant, thank you so much, my man. I have been educated like I cannot imagine, and I'm hoping we can continue this conversation. Well, let's kick off with the rest of the show now. We're heading off to Tubbs and see what's happening in the news.